Hi guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound with a special Rock Sound news update. I recently had the chance to sit down and talk with Paul Raci, the Oscar-nominated star of Sound of Metal. The film follows the story of a heavy metal drummer played by Riz Ahmed, who must come to terms with the fact that he is losing his hearing, helped along the way by his mentor Joe, played by Paul. And not only is Paul an actor, he's also a professional musician with his own band Hands of Doom ASL Rock. And he even recently joined Blink-182's Travis Barker for an ASL interpretation of Metallica's Enter Sandman. We talk about all of that and the amazing reaction to this film, which is set to finally hit UK cinemas over here on May 17th. So, without any further ado, here in his own words, Mr. Paul Raci.
I've been, doing a lot of these conversations over the last year with people making albums, and they found it very surreal putting out albums during this year with everything that's been going on in the world. How's this experience been for you, where it's arguably your biggest moment in your career, but such a strange moment to put a film out? What's this all been like for you, man?
Oh, there you go. I mean, exactly. You put in the perspective of that I've been acting for about 40 years. I hate to say that out loud, but I've been acting for 40 years. I've been in rock and roll bands for more than 40 years. So you're just going along doing your gig day after day, whatever you can do, raising a family and all that. And then all of a sudden you get a big break. And we filmed this thing 3 years ago, man. So, and I knew when we filmed it, I knew that it was going to be something substantial, something that was a real work of art, because the director had a good head on his shoulders, just a real professional. Everybody in the crew. So I'm thinking, wow, this is great. I know this is going to be a work of art. And then, hold up, you got to wait now for another year, another 2 years, the pandemic hits. So it's been frustrating, but at the same time, then to be nominated for an Academy Award, that's not too shabby. It kind of puts a little salve on the wound, maybe. But look, it's all good. It's fine. Things are really looking up for me now because of the film. So it's been frustrating. I guess the word is frustrating. When you've been your whole life, you try and making something happen, and then it's like, no, hold on a second.
But I guess then such a relief when not only does it get a release and, everyone's been able to watch online now, coming into cinemas, of course, over here as well.
Right.
But to have that finally out there, but also know that it's just had this incredible reaction, not just from the critics, and, congrats on all your award notices and all that stuff too, but the audience reaction has been lovely to see it, primarily online, just seeing how well received this film. That's got to be a really, really nice extra salve as well.
Yes, it absolutely is. You talk about people's reaction. I know a lot of musicians here, of course, in Los Angeles, and a lot of them they just express a little bit of concern. They're like, I don't know if I want to go see this. It's too close to home, because most of us, after all these years, especially when you think about when I first started doing rock and roll in the 60s, and then went to Vietnam and came back and started doing heavy metal in the 70s. We had no protection for our ears. There were no monitoring systems. I used to go and watch Robin Trower and Queen with my head right in the speakers. So most of us have this tinnitus, that's the ringing in the ears. So a lot of musicians and drummers especially express that it's a scary movie. It's almost a horror flick. And when you see the movie, you realize that, God, how precious, how sensitive your hearing is. And to take it so lightly and cavalier. I mean, all of us have done this kind of thing, banging that music so loud in our cars. And then when you finally turn the car off, turn your radio off, and you hear this muffled sound, like what? And then it goes away. Well, dude, if you keep on doing that, this is the result. So it has been kind of, that's been interesting to make the awareness of how sensitive our ears are.
Yeah. Very much at the core, particularly of your character, is that relationship with Riz's character and your relationship as actors. What a brilliant dueling performance in a way it is between you guys. It's just so wonderful. Talk to me a little bit about building that connection with another actor like that. How long did it take for you guys to really find that groove that works so well here?
Well, they were shooting the film before I got on set in Boston. I was only there for 21 days, 3 weeks. So when I got on the set, the director introduced me to Riz Ahmed, fantastic, wonderful person, not only as an actor also, but we met briefly. And then he goes, we're going to do the scene in about 30 minutes. No rehearsal. We're just going to sit down and do the scene. Now, if you think about this, the first scene that I do with Riz, it's the intake scene where I'm just meeting him. I just met the guy in real life. And he doesn't know me. I don't know him. So there's an awkwardness in that scene that's perfect. And we got to know each other as men and as actors at the same time. And then 3 weeks later, we're shooting that final scene in the movie where we have our final scene at the table at the kitchen there. And we were friends by then. And now we're saying goodbye to each other on film and as men, actors. So I really cherish this guy so much because he, as an actor, when you have a relationship with another actor, it doesn't matter if it's on stage or film, male, female. I'm a listener. I listen to my partner and then I react. And God, did he give me a lot to react to. That guy's just tremendous. So I can't say enough about the guy. Everything that I needed as an actor, I was getting from him and supporting him. So I just thought the way he filmed, the director Darius Marder filmed the movie, he did it in chronological order. In other words, nothing was out of sequence. So we were actually living the movie in a real way. I just thought it was a brilliant decision on this first-time director who insisted on that. So it was a big benefit to all of us.
It's got to be lovely as well to have a story like this that is, it's very much music at the core of it and the focus of it in a lot of ways. You're a professional musician, so is Riz. That's got to be a nice, from very different worlds as well musically, but that's got to be a nice, easy bonding connection right there too.
Pretty much, because when I look, when we look at each other and in each other's eyes, we do have that connection of this. I've been an actor a long time, but there's this other world that actors I know don't know about, this world of rock and roll that I've been in, and his world, of course, in the world of rap. It's a whole nother thing. So we do have that connection. And the other thing I must say is, for me personally, my parents were deaf, and my mother, who was deafened at the age of 5 years old, very much encouraged me musically when I was a kid. Bought me my first guitar. Bought me tickets to see the Beatles in Chicago. And when on the condition that when I got home, I had to explain to her everything that happened at the concert, what it was like. Why are these kids so crazy about the Beatles? I'm like, Ma, they sing about love. That's all they sing about is love, But that connection for me, my point is in this movie, being in this movie that shows deaf addicts, and the core of it being that music has been taken away from Riz's character, and then living this, knowing that my parents were totally isolated from pop culture, from music. That's a big thing, James. It's a big thing to not be hooked into that culture that you and I take for granted. Turn on my radio, turn on my CDs, do whatever I'm doing. I'm gonna listen to this now. That's devastating, especially if you've already heard and you know what music is. My father never heard music. He was deafened at the age of about 6 months. He didn't care. He was like, I don't know, music, I guess it's okay. Why are you buying all these albums? What do you do with all those albums? I had these albums all stacked up. My father couldn't understand. What do you do with now? They're just sitting there. You play one once in a while. So he didn't, but my mother, who had it taken away from her, certainly understood that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a key theme in the film, obviously, that, deafness is not something to fix and all this kind of thing. But something that you've been very vocal about recently is in terms of the entertainment industry at large and film, and rightly so, how we can open that up and tell these stories and open up access in a lot of ways. I want to get your opinion on that, and basically in terms of how we can open up more in rock spaces and live music spaces and music spaces in general, because I know when it's my job to go to loads of gigs, right? I know I've only ever seen sign interpreters there a handful of times, and when it's there and when it's, I remember seeing a Green Day show in Hyde Park a couple of years back, and they had a sign interpreter on stage, and it was incredible. It adds to the performance so much, and they're
yeah.
so into it, and it really is a proper, as you well know, a full expression of the lyrics, of the performance, and everything. You know, more of that we'd love to see, but what else can we do to open up these spaces?
Just awareness, I think, because you know, the edit. So you know, the band that I play in, it's a Black Sabbath tribute band, Hands of Doom. So because of my experience, I put a headset on, and then I sign the whole show while I'm singing it. So that's incredible to everybody. I mean, I can't even believe I'm doing it because it's crazy, but people love it. And the thing about it is, um, hearing people in the rock clubs that we do here in California, they can't believe when they see like 40 deaf people showing up in a hard, heavy metal rock club to watch this show. Well, because they're deaf. But you have to understand there's so many different levels of deafness, degrees of deafness. Some people only feel through vibration. Some people hear through a little bit of hearing aids, whatever they do. But the thing that hearing headbangers say to me is, I had no idea deaf people would be into music. Well, music is life. It's a vibration. It's a vibe. It's everything to me. I know it's everything to you, but it's like, so when they see a deaf person, you know, getting into it, it brings two different cultures together, deaf culture, this hearing culture, and they realize, really, God, it's so cool because they're like doing, you know, and they're doing it together. They're communicating with each other while the band is playing. So I think just to the movie and seeing more things like this at venues piques the rest of the world's awareness that there's more to this than just hearing something. You can feel something, you see the visuals, you get the vibe from the person standing next to you. It's not like listening to a CD at a live performance. So I'm hoping that there's a lot of talented interpreters out there that love to do rock concerts. So if this will pique the people's awareness that deaf people are not just a monolith, they're not one or two dimensional, there's many dimensions to all of us. So hopefully this will bring the awareness, and just the consciousness will expand, is what I'm saying. So people are more accepting of it. It's not some guy just throwing crap out there. This is art. These people are doing art, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible talent. I've always admired it. The minute I see it on stage, it really just opens things up. And speaking, you
Yeah.
know, raising awareness through the film and other things, I want to mention the Enter Sandman video you put out, you know, a few months
Yeah.
back, because he had Elise in there as incredible talent, and also Travis Barker, who's the hardest working man in music, by the way, just popping up everywhere these days. It's crazy.
He is amazing. Yeah. That was Amazon's suggestion. Actually, Darius Martyr suggested it to uh, Amazon. They got together and put this whole production together. Travis Barker walks in. What an incredible talent. They had this whole music track going on. The fills that he does in this video are real. They're in real time. He just blew us all away. So listen, for me, it was a pleasure. You know, when that video opens up and you see the metal shavings, the vibrations of the metal shavings at the beginning, that is so brilliant, because that's the way when deaf people watch the video, they go, yeah. That's how they see the vibrations and stuff happening. So it's a brilliant piece of work. I'm proud to be part of it. And then I'm doing a pure ASL interpretation because I'm not actually singing. So you get to see more of a pure interpretation of sign language. That was a thrill. I had no idea they were going to do that. That's another thing, James. When Elise is doing that thing, people online, you know, what happened to the heavy metal? You know, they're not going to be happy you stole this tune. Well, you know, it's like they gave their blessing to it, and it's another version. You know, open up your mind. Anyway, that's why I don't look at social media, man.
Wise move. Always a wise move to touch that one, for sure. I've heard you speak before, you know, when you talk about your band and performing live and stuff, you talked before about how Sabbath in particular you felt was like a great band to be able to communicate that with, and it fits really, really well. Just wondering, outside of that, what other bands, including, I guess, bands around in the minute, is there any other heavy acts that you think fit particularly well in terms of what you're trying to communicate on stage?
Well, you know what? I've thought about that. And I just think Sabbath is just so prolific. It's crazy. It's insane. Um, and it fits the language of signs so perfectly well. Now, there's a lot of bands. Oh, I mean, Ozzy's always been a great one for this. He's always been a storyteller. And as I was saying about the Beatles, all they talked about was LOVE, love. That was it. That's basically what 99.99% of the stuff is about. That can get a little trite, a little old after a while because you see the same thing over and over again. But when you see bands like Sabbath, and think about when they were writing this stuff, this is insane. It's almost like they just don't care. They wanted to talk about God, the devil, nuclear annihilation, all this stuff. The Beatles didn't talk about that too much, you know. So I just think Sabbath is the, I don't even know. I fell into this band. I was trying to get into another band. I would have done anything. I would have sang shit if I could. I just wanted to get into a band. But luckily for me, this band, and now we're doing originals, which is really cool. But luckily for me, this really fit my mode so well that it seems to work out really well. And I'm at a loss for how many different bands there are that you could interpret. But I'll tell you one that I love doing is the Foo Fighters. I love doing the Foo Fighters because they are an energy, and they also speak about a lot of things that are important, like their current CD speaking about waiting on a war. That's my life, James. I've been waiting on a war since I was in high school. When I was in high school, in the late 60s, I knew I was going to be drafted to go to war. So that song hits me deep to the bone. And so things like that, I think, are perfect for rock and roll. And God bless Dave Grohl. God bless the guy.
Oh, God. One of my all-time favorites, absolutely.
And going into the Hall of Fame.
I was about to say, at the time of recording, literally just like an hour ago or something, announced
an hour ago.
Fame. Yeah. Oh,
God
so
bless
well
him.
deserved. So well deserved, that one. One of the best bands out there. I guess is how I'll wrap up with you, Paul, really, is just to generally ask you what is kind of next for you, man. I guess it's the nature of the business, isn't it? You have a moment like this, you've got a lot of options. I'm sure you can pick some personal projects you want to do as well. What can you tell me about?
Well, I can tell you that I have a new management team who are advising me on what my next move is. And I'm sad to say, and almost proud to report, that I've turned down a couple of things already. And so in the old days, I'd be like, you got one line in a movie, I'm there. I'll cut my hair, whatever I have to do. Now it's a little bit different. So I've got projects that are waiting on me that are very meaningful. It's going to be good. I cannot say what they are, but I have about 5 irons in the fire that are looking very, very good. So as far as acting goes, there's going to be some good stuff coming along. And that can only, and what I'm really thinking about now is my band. I can't say my band, our band. You know, when you say my band, you know, the guys in the band, they go, what the hell happened? Since when is it your band? But
like they're not all saying my band as well. Come on.
Exactly.
Everyone's saying it.
Come on. Oh God, give me the tape recorder. But yeah, so things are good. You're going to hear more from me and from the band, but you'll hear more from me as far as films go. It's just that I've got to be very selective now. And thank God for that also. I'm just very grateful.
You can watch Sound of Metal on Prime Video, and it is hitting UK cinemas on May 17th. In the meantime, I've been James Wilson Taylor, and this has been a Rock Sound News Update.